So I just finished my last deathmatch of the week. Thoughts on how things went. So, yeah, the last couple of days, my games didn't go that well. I won 2 games out of 10. So it's a little rough having the 20% win rate. I think this is a few things. This is partially an MMR correction because I got placed in like high diamond, low ascendant MMR. Yeah, I wasn't ready to be there from an aim perspective, probably from a utility perspective, and just everything perspective. I've always had a hard time like when I rank up in Valorant and then fall back. I want to be able to stay in higher elo. I mean, in this case, obviously, I didn't exactly like have the skill to get there. It was just a variance thing and a placement thing. But nonetheless, it was still a little rough on the ego to fall back. And honestly, like those games are more fun, I think. Just the players played with a little bit more intensity. The peaks were all like super clean. People were just playing a lot better in that higher MMR. It's motivation to get back there, but we're not there yet. And there is a lot of work to do. If I do a personal inventory of just like how I think I played during the week, I mean, I think I did have more energy in the beginning of the week. And as the week went on, as I was sort of like had a lot going on with the content creation side of things, you know, I was working 12 plus hour days trying to play Valorant and getting everything done. If you want to call that working, I don't know. But, you know, I was sitting at the computer for 12 plus hours a day, racking my brain, trying to get all my footage, get all my technical issues fixed, and trying to just capture everything that was happening and everything that was going through my mind. So that definitely played a factor in just like being tired and kind of playing worse by the end of the week. Yeah, after like playing so much Valorant and just kind of having so much time to think about it, I actually do think I suck as a player. And that's not really to be hard on myself, but just like, yeah, there's a lot we can improve on. Obviously, mechanics are an easy thing to see, but way more than just that. Like, as a Neon player, I don't even know if I really know how to play Neon. I mean, I feel like I do not know how to use her util effectively. There were so many of those clips where I was throwing using her slide. There were times where I used a wall and like, you know, I don't know what I was walling, but it seemed like the wall helped the enemy team more than it helped my team. Yeah, I don't know how to use her utility. I know how to use her ult really well. That's for sure. I know how to like run and run across the map and try to get better timing. But right now I'm like a Valorant player who uses Neon, but not a great Neon player. I think probably what I did best was my macro. I had some good IGL calls. Often when I would make a call for the team, whether or not the team would follow it, like you could see that it would have worked. Like I was reading the enemies well. And so this is obviously useful, but it's like, it's a very exhausting skill to rely on because you want to be good as an individual player in Valorant. You don't want to have to just always constantly corral, you know, the team of wild animals you get placed on in comp games. It's important to do that too, but like you can't just rely on that because there's going to be games where your teammates don't calm and they don't work with you. So you have to be really solid as an individual contributor on the team. But overall, you know, I think this was a good first week. I think it's kind of cool, the highs and lows of it. We got placed in this high MMR. We got a chance to show what we were made of, and we did. And we got sent back down to like plat, low diamond MMR, which, you know, is not bad. But yeah, I think I belong in plat right now. I don't think I belong in gold, but I think I belong in plat. I'm going to grow as a player and not just as a rank. Like, it's cool to be placed high in a rank or have a high rank, but what does a rank really mean at the end of the day if not our skill as a player? I'm hopeful. Obviously, we're not going to change as a player entirely in a week, especially when my intention for the week wasn't to become a god. It was to get reacquainted with the game, and I think I've done that. That said, I think we have a good starting point, and we know what to focus on next week. So the first thing is I want to move from 5 games to 3 to 4. Right now, I don't have the mental required or maybe the energy required to play all 5 games optimally. Like every time I got to that 5th game, I was usually either tilted or running low on energy, just not in the right headspace to perform well. So yeah, I mean, one day I want to be able to play more comp games like that, maybe even more than that in a day without suffering or without playing worse. But for now, we need to tone it back. We need to start VOD reviewing. It was cool to just not VOD review at all and just kind of be in the moment and play naturally. Over the past week, I know I'm making a lot of mistakes. I'm probably making mistakes I haven't seen yet or I'm not aware of yet. So we need to start looking at those. About 30 minutes of just review of my own gameplay for every day. We need to start studying Neon gameplay. Yeah, right now as a Neon player, I feel like I'm probably that throwing Neon player that annoyed people a lot. So it's time to study the blade of Neon. We're going to mix up the aim training. I've done this like Woohoojin aim training routine for a long time. Not really that I've been aim training for like the past year consistently, but just on and off. And honestly, I'm just tired of seeing these scenarios and tired of playing them. I feel like they're just really stale for me now. I'm going to mix it up. There's some other voltaic routines. And that said, we're dropping the DMs from an hour and a half to an hour, just because an hour and a half into DM after a while just doesn't really feel super useful. It's maybe too much. We're over-indexing on the DM practice right now. I think an hour of like really focused DM is good enough. And that'll about do it. So that next plan is 3 to 4 comp games, an hour of DM, an hour of aim training, half hour of VOD review, and a half hour of watching Temet and learning from the Neon God, or one of the Neon Gods anyway. We've got a plan for going in for the next week. One more thing I'm going to be doing. So my mental is not great when it comes to games and tilting. I felt like, I was playing worse when I was performing worse in previous games this week, especially as the week went on. I think I'm probably putting a lot into my performance, right? Because like my whole year depends on whether or not I can rank up in Valorant, or at least like that's a big part of what I'm doing with this content creation thing. So I need to find better ways to deal with tilt. I'm going to look up and research a few like sports books or sports psychology books on how one could deal with the stresses of performance, and how to deal with like when you're playing bad, and kind of how to like recenter yourself and attack stronger. And I'm going to pick one of those texts and I'm going to study it alongside everything else this week. I'm pulling out all the stops, man. We're studying this game mechanically. We're studying this game from like the gameplay level. Am I doing all the right abilities? And we're even pulling in shit outside of the game that applies to just higher level things, like the stress of performing under pressure and such. We're doing it, man. I don't know which part of these things is actually going to help, but I want to know that I've put everything into trying to become a better player. That's the story we're telling. We told it this week. I stuck to my whole routine. I didn't waver one day. I did everything I said I was going to do. Maybe there'll be a week where I can't do that. I'm not Superman. But next week, we're going at it just as hard, just a little bit more smart. Overall, we lost more than we won, I think, this week. But we won in other ways. Next week, we're going to continue to do the same stuff right here. You know where to catch me. Hopefully, I can get another video out in another week. We'll see how that works. But this has been Musagan. I'm signing off. But stay tuned for more, because we got a whole lot more stuff coming. All right, we're not giving up. I'm not radiant in 1 week, but we will be. Stay tuned.